Welcome to the Atlantic, December 5th, 1872. A ship drifts alone, Mary Celeste, her sails full, yet her deck empty. No crew, no captain, no family. Just the echo of footsteps that will never return. Discovered by the British brig Dei Gratia, she floated near the Azores, her cargo untouched, provisions intact, yet not a single soul aboard. The lifeboat gone. Navigational instruments vanished. The logbook entries halting mid-journey, a voyage cut short in the most bewildering manner. Whispers of panic, of superstition, of ghostly presences at sea swirl around the tale. Could the crew have abandoned ship in fear? Or did something unseen claim them silently? Captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife Sarah, their 2-year-old daughter Carmen, 8 sailors, all vanished. The Atlantic swallowing names, faces, stories, leaving behind only the ship itself sailing toward Genoa, unmanned, drifting as if guided by some spectral hand. The cargo of 700 barrels of alcohol remains a silent witness to the singular disappearance. Notes in the captain's log hint at calm seas, routine voyages, nothing to warn of the impending void. And yet the ship speaks in creaks and groans in the absence of life, telling a story that confounds reason. Step aboard. Feel the chill of November winds. The spray of Atlantic waves against the hull. Imagine lanterns swinging in empty corridors. The smell of alcohol in the hold, sweet, sharp, ominous. And as the fog closes in, as the horizon blurs, the question lingers. Where did they go? And why? November 1872. The Atlantic is cold gray, the horizon a blurred line where sky meets sea. Waves crest and crash with relentless cadence, a lonely expanse that swallows sound, swallowing distance. And yet a ship sails, Mary Celeste. A merchant brig, her sails taut, her timbers creaking in the rhythm of the ocean. On board Captain Benjamin S. Briggs stands at the helm, surveying the deck. His wife Sarah nearby, wrapped in shawls against the chill. Their 2-year-old daughter Carmen playing with a wooden toy that rocks with every sway of the vessel. The crew. 8 men strong attend to ropes, the clamor of hoisting sails punctuated by the occasional shout, a warning to the wind, all routine, yet touched by the ever-present unease of the open ocean. The ship is laden with a cargo of 700 barrels of denatured alcohol, a volatile, dangerous substance carefully stowed but whispered about in port taverns. Dangerous cargo sailors mutter in hushed tones, their voices swallowed by the wind. The journey began in New York, departing November 7th with charts plotted for Genoa, Italy, a passage that would take weeks across the North Atlantic, threading past the Azores, skirting storms that could rise without warning, waves taller than houses, the roar of the sea a constant companion. Every sailor aboard knows the ocean has moods, from the gentle swell that rocks you to sleep to the fury that turns timbers into splinters and men into memories. Captain Briggs is aware, meticulous, cautious, his logbook a testament to preparation and order. Daily entries noting latitude, longitude, wind speed, barometer readings, the swell, the clouds, a ritual of control against the chaos of nature. Yet the Atlantic in November is merciless. Fog rolls in like spectral fingers cloaking the deck, turning day into muted gray night, into a velvet darkness, broken only by lanterns swaying with the ship. The cries of gulls echo across the void, distant and lonely. A faint smell of alcohol pervades the hold, a pungent reminder of the cargo's hidden menace. The crew murmurs warnings. A sailor claims he saw the vapor rise in ghostly tendrils over the hatches. Fleeting shapes dancing in the lantern light, superstition mingling with reality, the folklore of the sea seeping into their minds. The spirits of those lost at sea, one whispers, recalling tavern tales, never rest. They claim those foolish enough to cross them. Daily routines, carry-on sails, are trimmed lines, coiled meals prepared, but subtle anomalies begin. A rope frays inexplicably. A barrel shifts, the smell of alcohol stronger in one hold than the next. The compass needle quivering though the ship maintains its course. Captain Briggs notes these in his journal, matter of fact, yet attention grows unspoken. The crew exchanges glances, silent acknowledgments of unease. A storm approaches from the northwest, clouds darken, the wind shifts. The first rain streaks across the deck, turning wood slick, the sound of water hammering against the hull like a drumbeat of warning. The Mary Celeste moves steadily, yet the Atlantic seems alive, currents tug at her keel, invisible hands guiding her path, pushing her closer to the unknown. Night falls, lanterns glow dimly, casting shadows that twist across the deck, turning familiar shapes into monsters of the imagination. The waves crash louder, the wind whistles through rigging like voices of the departed. Sailors whisper old legends, ghost ships that drift endlessly. Crews vanished, cargo intact, a mirror of their own voyage, an omen the wind carries across time. Beware the bottle that sleeps, an older sailor murmurs, referring to the barrels, for it holds more than liquor. Days pass in rhythm with the sea. The logbook entries record coordinates, wind barometer, humidity, and subtle signs of danger. An eerie calm settles one evening, the air thick, almost electric, a pressure that weighs on the shoulders of every man aboard. Captain Briggs notes in his log, all well, wind moderate, course steady, words meant to reassure both himself and posterity. Yet the ink betrays a tremor, a hesitation. Outside, the ocean breathes in slow waves, rolling the ship as though testing her balance, testing the minds of those aboard. Rumors circulate among the crew. Some speak of waters that make men ill, of sudden waves that vanish as quickly as they rise, of phantom sails glimpsed at dawn, then gone by dusk. The ship seems to respond, timbers groan, sails flap without wind. Small leaks appear in the bilge water, creeping a few centimeters. The barrels of alcohol, the very heart of their cargo, exude a faint odor. Some swear it smells sweeter than it should. Others detect the acrid tang of something more sinister. A storm warning appears on the horizon, low, dark clouds rolling, lightning flickering like skeletal fingers, the thunder a drum of forewarning. Captain Briggs calls the men together to check rigging, to secure the cargo, to prepare for what may come. Orders are precise, calm, professional. Yet the atmosphere is taut, a tension that cannot be dispelled by mere commands. The wind rises, the rain lashes, the deck tilts and slips beneath boots. Yet Mary Celeste presses on her timbers, shivering, her hull groaning yet intact. She carries the family, the crew, the barrels, each element a potential hazard, a precarious balance maintained against the whim of the Atlantic. Night deepens. Lanterns, flicker shadows, stretch across the deck. Shapes imagined in the dim light, specters of what might be, what the ocean claims silently. A sailor claims to hear footsteps where none exist. Another sees a shadow cross the hatchway. Captain Briggs writes in the log, unadorned, factual, unaware that his observations will one day be the last. The Atlantic stretches endlessly, cold, dark, indifferent. The ship's sails, crew unaware that their voyage has intersected with a fate singular, mysterious, a disappearance that will echo through centuries. And so the Mary Celeste moves onward through calm, through storm, guided by men and superstition alike. Every rope, every barrel, every creak of timber, a note in a symphony of tension, a prelude to what will become the singular disappearance that history will never fully explain. The horizon shifts, and with it the boundary between the known and the unknowable. The logbook entries continue, coordinates weather, the occasional note on crew morale, each page a whisper in the Atlantic wind. Even as dawn breaks, casting muted light across the rolling gray waves, the unease persists, the smell of alcohol, the tension among men, the ghostly legends murmured from port to port. Mary Celeste sails a vessel laden, not just with cargo, but with questions, omens, folklore, whispers that will haunt the imagination long after the ship drifts beyond view. Each day a mirror of the last, each night a canvas for fear the unknown, the uncanny. The Atlantic holds its secrets close. The crew continues their work, unaware that history watches, waits, and will one day record their journey as a tale of mystery, disappearance, and the unexplainable. The records are meticulous. Captain Briggs' logbook, preserved until the final entry, tells a tale of routine and order. November 7th, 1872. Mary Celeste departs New York, bound for Genoa, Italy. A merchant brig of 12 years' age, her timbers seasoned, her sails tested. The crew, a family and 8 sailors aware of the journey's perils. Charts laid, compass-aligned, cargo stowed with care, 700 barrels of denatured alcohol. Volatile, dangerous, yet carefully secured. Provisions ample. Water and food to last months. Entries note calm seas, gentle winds, and a slight northeasterly swell. Yet subtle anomalies creep in a barrel, shifting slightly, the smell of alcohol growing stronger in the hold. No mention of panic yet, sailors whisper among themselves. The sea has eyes, one writes in the margin, though this may be idle superstition. The Atlantic in November is no gentle mistress. Storms may rise without warning. Currents unseen tug at the keel, each swell a reminder that control is never absolute. The last log entry, dated November 25th, 1872, marks the 9th day from departure. Coordinates placed Mary Celeste 500 miles from where she would be found. All well, course, steady wind, moderate spirits, good. Briggs writes, ink steady, words deliberate. Yet the space following is abrupt, the final note cut off mid-thought, as though the pen itself hesitated, sensing the unseen. When the British brig Dei Gratia discovers her on December 5th, the distance traveled in those intervening days tells a silent story. The ship continued onward unmanned, drifting as if by some hand outside human understanding. Boarding, Mary Celeste, Morehouse and his men find a vessel remarkably intact, sails torn, slightly minor damage from the sea, a few inches of water in the hold, but provisions untouched, cargo secured, the lifeboat gone, navigational instruments missing, yet the ship, fully seaworthy, rides the waves without complaint. The newspapers of the day report the discovery with a mixture of awe and suspicion. A mystery without parallel, the New York Herald declares. Editors speculate mutiny, piracy, alcohol fumes, storms, yet all possibilities fall short of explanation. Official inquiries follow Admiralty records, note the singular disappearance. Witness testimony from Dei Gratia's crew detailed. Logs reviewed. Nothing concrete found. Theories abound. Some suggest alcohol fumes ignited fear, leading the crew to abandon ship temporarily. Others propose a sudden squall, tossing the lifeboat and leaving the brig alone. Yet no bodies, no evidence, just the silent testimony of the ship itself. Maritime records from ports along the Atlantic note unusual reports of drifting vessels, phantom sails glimpsed at dawn, barrels found adrift, tales of spectral ships with empty decks. Mary Celeste joins these entries a singular disappearance, a fate unknown. Historians continue to parse details, the last journal entries, the condition of the cargo, the angle of the torn sails, each element examined for patterns, for clues, yet the Atlantic keeps its secrets close. The fact layer paints a picture deliberate, precise, anchored in documents and testimony. But even within these records, shadows linger. Why abandon a seaworthy ship? Why leave provisions behind? Why vanish entirely, leaving a family of 3 and 8 sailors to the void of history? Every document, every log entry, every newspaper clipping echoes the same reality: the ship remained, the crew disappeared, the cause singular, mysterious, unresolvable. Even forensic examinations of the ship years later reveal nothing conclusive: wood, intact cargo stable, no evidence of struggle. Minor leaks likely from the swell explain water in the hold. The lifeboat's absence a constant question mark. Some speculate that Briggs, cautious as he was, feared a catastrophic event. A leak of alcohol vapor, perhaps. An unseen danger prompting him to lower the lifeboat. Yet if so, why did they never return? No trace ever found. Every maritime historian notes the oddities. The condition of the ship, the careful stowage of cargo, the absence of struggle, the intact personal effects. A vessel abandoned without reason, one scholar writes. No storm, no pirate, no accident to justify the desertion. A singular disappearance. The ultimate unsolved mystery of the sea. And so the records speak factual, precise, yet incomplete. Each document is a window, yet through it the sea still whispers its secrets. Or the creak of timbers, the gentle slap of waves against the hull, the rhythmic flapping of sails. These are the heartbeat of Mary Celeste, yet aboard life, hums quietly. Captain Benjamin Briggs moves with purpose, his eyes scanning the horizon, calculating distance, wind, and tide. His wife Sarah tends to their daughter Carmen, the child's laughter mingling with the groan of wood, the hiss of wind through rigging. The crew of 8 men, disciplined and routine-bound, perform their duties, hauling lines, checking sails, inspecting the hold. Each man aware of the ocean's capricious temperament. Meals are prepared simply: salted meat, hardtack softened in water, tea from a tin kettle. Yet even in these mundane tasks there is a ritual, a rhythm that anchors sanity against the vast expanse of sea. The barrels of alcohol, the very lifeblood of the ship's cargo, stand silent in their hold rows of wooden staves gleaming in dim lantern light. Every man aboard knows its danger, the fumes potent, the odor sharp, a silent reminder that a single spark could end everything. And yet there is camaraderie, fleeting moments of laughter, a shared glance, a quiet jest exchanged over the thrum of the ocean. Sailors tell tales in whisper stories learned in ports, ships that vanish, storms that appear without warning, spectral lights dancing over waves. An old mariner warns, beware the ghostly cargo the sea remembers, and it claims what it pleases. Briggs smiles politely at such superstitions, but the words linger, a shadow across a sailor's mind. Nights bring the greatest tension, lanterns swinging, shadows twisting across the deck, waves lashing the ship, rolling with each swell. Carmen stirs in her cradle, the wind whistling through the rigging like voices from the deep. Sarah clutches her daughter, her shawl tight, whispering lullabies that seem to mingle with the sigh of the ocean. Crew members peer into darkness, scanning for threats unseen, the ship a fragile island of life in an endless gray sea. Small incidents punctuate routine, a barrel shifts unexpectedly, the smell of alcohol rises stronger in one hold than another, and whispers of vapor fill the air. Sailors exchange wary looks, muttering quietly about the dangers of confined spirits. A splinter falls from a beam, a rope frays, yet all is manageable. Still the mind cannot dismiss the subtle unease, the tiny anomalies that grow into persistent thoughts. A sense of something watching, something waiting. Captain Briggs keeps meticulous notes, latitude, longitude, weather, the behavior of the ship. But even as he records the factual, the emotional undercurrent is palpable, the weight of responsibility, the care for family, the concern for men whose lives depend entirely on his decisions. Orders are precise, measured, calm, yet one senses an undercurrent of tension, the silent dialogue between human intent and the untamable Atlantic. Folklore threads through every conversation, stories of ghost ships, abandoned mid-Atlantic crews, disappearing in the night, barrels of spirits gone awry. Whispers suggest the alcohol might awaken something in the sea, and though men laugh nervously, the imagination does not rest. Every sound becomes suspect. A rope snapping, a hatch creaking, the distant call of a gull. Each minor event magnifies, grows, transforms into possibilities both mundane and sinister. The crew carries on, trimming sails, checking rigging, scrubbing decks, yet there is a shared tension, a collective holding of breath. Captain Briggs notices it, eyes scanning faces, reading the quiet anxiety beneath professionalism. Sarah senses it too, a maternal instinct attuned not only to her child but to the ship itself. The subtle shifts in motion, the smell of alcohol, the whisper of wind through rigging. Carmen sleeps unaware, but her small presence humanizes the threat, magnifies the stakes. Days stretch into nights, nights into days. The ocean remains indifferent, a constant companion to the rhythms of human endeavor. The ship moves steadily, sometimes cutting through calm seas, sometimes tossed by swells that rise like walls of liquid gray. The crew responds, the family adapts, yet the tension grows subtle, insidious, an invisible hand pressing against their lives, challenging the order they cling to. Legends haunt these hours, mariners' tales of ships that sail themselves, of vapors that drive men mad, of spectral sightings that vanish with dawn. The Mary Celeste, though still fully functional, becomes a stage where these stories linger the human mind, projecting fears onto the natural world, seeking patterns in randomness, crafting meaning where none is evident. And yet each entry in the log, each glance over the rail, each whispered caution anchors the narrative in reality, a fragile balance between human perception and the untamed sea. Every action, every glance, every minor incident builds a tapestry of life aboard the warmth of a lantern, the chill of the wind, the smell of salt and alcohol, the creak of timbers, the rolling of the ship, the laughter of a child. A ship fully alive with human presence. Unaware that in a matter of days, all of this, Captain Briggs Sarah Carmen, the crew would vanish, leaving only the echoes recorded in logs, the whispers preserved in folklore, and a vessel adrift, carrying the story forward into history. And so life continues. Chores, meals, watch duties, stories told over the sway of the deck. The Atlantic stretches endlessly calm one moment, violent the next, a constant reminder of the delicate boundary between survival and disappearance. The human scene aboard Mary Celeste is a study in tension, routine, and anticipation, a tableau of ordinary life poised on the edge of the extraordinary, unknowable fate. December 5, 1872. The fog lifts slowly over the Azores, revealing the ghostly outline of a vessel drifting without purpose. Dei Gratia approaches cautiously, sails taut, timbers creaking. The lookout shouts a ship alone, moving strangely with the current. Captain David Morehouse orders the approach, every man on edge. The closer they come, the more surreal the sight. Mary Celeste fully seaworthy, yet no soul visible on deck. Lanterns swinging lightly, lines, taut sails intact. The smell of alcohol faintly carried by the wind, sharp, acrid, unsettling. Boarding her, the crew of Dei Gratia finds a ship preserved almost unnaturally. Minor damage to sails, a few inches of water in the hold. Cargo untouched, barrels of denatured alcohol stacked precisely as if the hands that stowed them had just left moments ago. Provisions ample, food stores untouched, water casks full, yet no lifeboat, no navigational instruments. Compass is missing. The sextant, the chronometer gone. The ship capable of reaching Genoa on her own, yet no one at the helm. The captain's log lies open, the last entry 9 days old. Recording coordinates some 500 miles from the position of discovery. All well, course steady, wind moderate, spirits good. The ink steady, deliberate, and then silence. The pen marks end mid-journey, the last words frozen in time. It is a testament to order, to routine, yet it mocks the emptiness of the ship now. The Atlantic seems to hold its breath. Every cabin examined, personal effects untouched. Sarah Briggs's shawl folded neatly. Carmen's toys lying in place undisturbed. Sailors' belongings carefully stowed. It is as if the entire crew had vanished, suddenly leaving a perfect snapshot of life interrupted. The scene evokes awe and fear simultaneously. One cannot help but imagine the moments leading up to the disappearance, hurried whispers, panic-restrained decisions made under unseen pressure. Minor anomalies draw attention, a hatch slightly ajar, a line loose, a barrel tilted ever so slightly. These details are documented meticulously by Morehouse's crew, who note every irregularity. Yet nothing explains why the crew abandoned a seaworthy ship. No struggle, no blood, no sign of violence, only the silence that stretches across deck and hold across timbers and sails into the mind. Newspapers seize upon the mystery. The New York Times, the Boston Globe. Maritime journals each recounts the event with a mixture of astonishment and speculation. A singular disappearance, a ship fully provisioned abandoned without cause, fate unknown. Editors offer theories, mutiny, piracy, alcohol fumes, rogue waves, yet all seem insufficient to explain the flawless desertion. The Atlantic, vast and unyielding, preserves the secrets. Accounts from Dei Gratia's crew describe the eerie calm aboard. Lanterns swinging without hands, ropes coiled neatly, almost ceremoniously. Cargo stable as though untouched by human imperfection. The smell of alcohol pervades, sweet, heavy, almost tangible. Whispers among the rescuers speak of ghostly intervention of the sea, claiming what it desires, of spirits guiding or punishing those aboard. These murmurs, though anecdotal, seep into the legend, a blending of fact and folklore that will persist for generations. Investigations follow, Admiralty inquiries and Gibraltar reports sent to New York. Testimony from Dei Gratia's crew recorded. The condition of the ship noted in exhaustive detail. Minor water ingress, minor sail damage. Everything else intact. No evidence of struggle. No footprints other than those of Dei Gratia's boarding party. Scholars pore over these reports, analyzing the positions of barrels, the sway of the ship, the conditions of sails. Every measurement meticulous, yet offering no clarity. Some posit natural explanations. alcohol fumes accumulating, fear of explosion prompting abandonment. Others suggest a sudden squall, a rogue wave, or a leak that threatens stability. Yet nothing in the records confirms these hypotheses. The lifeboat's absence remains a glaring enigma. The navigational instruments missing a deliberate act or an accident, the logs precise until the last entry offer no warning, no inkling of impending peril. Even today, maritime historians debate the ship's preservation, the lack of struggle, the presence of food and water. Each fact layer adds to the puzzle. The singular disappearance stands not as an anomaly easily dismissed, but as a document of the unknown. The Atlantic, cold and indifferent, carries these secrets. Every wave, every swell, every gust of wind, a reminder of humanity's smallness against the vastness. Yet folklore persists alongside fact. Sailors recount seeing spectral vessels, hearsay of crews abandoning ships due to whispers in the wind, apparitions of family members calling from the fog. Perhaps the Briggs family heard such a whisper. Perhaps they acted on instinct. Perhaps the ocean itself intervened, as if drawing the living into its infinite narrative. The lines between observation, fact, and legend blur, and Mary Celeste becomes more than a ship. She becomes a mirror of the sea's mystery. As the rescue crew leaves, Mary Celeste continues her drift, barrels intact, sails full, a vessel suspended between history and legend. The human presence once vibrant aboard has vanished. Only the traces remain: logs, cargo, empty cabins. A snapshot frozen in time. Every detail recorded becomes a tangible piece of the unsolved puzzle. And the story echoes forward, weaving into the folklore of maritime mystery. The Atlantic stretches endlessly, gray waves rolling, whispering secrets that only the sea knows. Mary Celeste drifts unmanned, her sails full, her timbers groaning with each swell. The discovery by Dei Gratia days earlier remains fresh in memory. A ship intact, provisions untouched, a cargo of 1,700 barrels of denatured alcohol, yet every soul aboard vanished. The human presence erased a family, 8 sailors, leaving behind only the echo of life suspended in wood and canvas. Examination of the ship reveals minute details, each adding to the tension. The lifeboat missing. Navigational instruments gone. Minor water ingress. Sails slightly torn, yet the hull seaworthy, every line secure. Observers note the eerie calm aboard, a tableau frozen in time. It is a scene that defies reason, a puzzle that refuses explanation. The newspapers and maritime reports call it a singular disappearance without parallel. Fact and mystery intertwine. Historians scrutinize the logs, the last entry of Captain Briggs' calm and methodical recording, coordinates, wind course, and crew morale. All well, course steady, wind moderate, spirits good. And then nothing. The silence speaks louder than words. The handwriting deliberate, precise, yet the abrupt end becomes an omen, a signature of the unknown. Scholars debate: was it alcohol vapor, a sudden squall, a rogue wave, or something beyond comprehension? Every hypothesis plausible, yet none conclusive. Folklore seeps in, whispers of spectral ships that sail without hands, of crews drawn into the depths by unseen forces, of barrels that emit fumes capable of inducing hallucinations. Sailors tell tales of voices on the wind, shadows crossing empty decks, footsteps echoing in abandoned corridors. Perhaps Briggs, Sarah, and Carmen heard such a call. Perhaps the crew saw shapes in the fog. The line between reality and superstition blurs. The Atlantic, a theater of both fact and fear. Eyewitness accounts from Dei Gratia describe sensations difficult to record: a coldness in the air, the subtle sway of the ship, almost conscious, the creak of timber like voices whispering. Minor details magnify into haunting observations: a hatch slightly ajar, ropes taut without explanation, the faint odor of alcohol rising in spectral waves. It is as if the sea itself communicates through these signs, a language known only to the vanished. The deeper investigation uncovers contradictions. Some barrels show slight movement as if shifted by human hands, yet no footprints, no disturbance of personal effects. Provisions untouched, a child's toy in place. The ship functional, ready to sail, yet empty. Every anomaly compounds the mystery, a puzzle of precision abandoned. The more one examines, the less explanation there seems to be. Legends grow alongside facts. Sailors speak of cursed voyages, of ghostly warnings, of spectral figures glimpsed in fog and storm. The Mary Celeste, though fully real, becomes a symbol, a bridge between recorded history and the intangible, the known and the unknowable. One wonders what terror, real or imagined, could compel a family and crew to abandon all. The specter of danger, the whisper of the sea, the suggestion of doom. Perhaps each played a part. In the climax of discovery, one imagines the scene moments before abandonment. Captain Briggs scanning the horizon, hearing the groan of timber, smelling the alcohol-laden air. His wife clutching their daughter, sailors exchanging tense glances, whispers of imminent peril. A subtle panic taking hold. The lifeboat lowered, a brief decision with permanent consequence. And then silence. The ship continues alone. The Atlantic swallows their presence. Every detail, now a story: the barrels, the minor damage, the open hatches, the untouched logbook, the missing navigational instruments. The ship becomes both witness and character, silent yet expressive. Observers feel the tension still, a sense of the vanished imprinted on the deck, in the hold, in the sway of sails. The narrative converges: fact, folklore, human fear, and maritime mystery, all suspended in one moment, frozen across time. And yet, even as scholars analyze, as folklore intertwines, the ultimate truth remains elusive. The singular disappearance persists. The sea claims its secrets, leaving only speculation, legend, and the ship itself. Mary Celeste drifts onward in the imagination, a vessel of unanswered questions. The climax is not in discovery, but in the absence of life. Absence of explanation, absence of closure. A void that fascinates, terrifies, and haunts. The lesson, if one exists, is the fragile boundary between order and chaos, routine and panic, life and disappearance. Every detail observed, every theory proposed, only deepens the mystery. The Atlantic watches silently, timeless, infinite. Mary Celeste becomes more than a ship. She is a testament to the unknown, a mirror reflecting the delicate tension between human control and the vast indifference of the sea. And so the story reaches its apex, dramatic, haunting, unresolved, leaving the viewer suspended in thought, wonder, and dread. The Atlantic stretches endlessly, waves rolling gray and indifferent, carrying secrets older than memory. Mary Celeste drifts silently, a ship preserved by time and tide, her timbers groaning, sails, full deck empty, yet alive in the imagination, alive in the whispers of history. The barrels of alcohol remain stacked untarnished, provisions untouched, the cabins quiet, holding echoes of laughter, work, and routine. Yet the people, Captain Briggs, Sarah, little Carmen, and the crew of 8, have vanished into the mist of time. Every plank, every line, every creak tells a story, yet that story is incomplete. Observers feel the absence as acutely as a presence. The logbook entries precise and calm until the final line mark a rhythm of life abruptly halted. All well, course, steady, wind, moderate, and then silence. It is in this silence that the mystery breathes, expanding with each retelling, each study, each imagining of what may have been. Legends intertwine with fact. Whispers of ghostly figures on deck, shadows flitting through the rigging at dawn, voices on the wind calling sailors to unknown fates. Tales of cursed voyages, of spirits claiming the unprepared, of sudden panic prompted by unseen forces. The line between reality and imagination blurs, and Mary Celeste becomes a canvas upon which human fear, curiosity, and myth converge. Historians and maritime experts continue to analyze the data: logs, cargo conditions, hull integrity, sail wear, minor water ingress. Every measurement accounted for, every anomaly noted. Yet the central question persists: why abandon a seaworthy ship laden with food, water, and cargo? Why leave a family of 3 and 8 sailors to the ocean? The records, meticulous as they are, offer no answer, only evidence of the impossible. Some suggest accident, alcohol fumes prompting precaution. Others speak of sudden storms, rogue waves, or freak currents. Perhaps a combination of factors: fear, misjudgment, superstition, yet none can explain the complete disappearance. And in the absence of explanation, folklore thrives. Sailors' tales, newspaper speculations, and whispered stories in port towns preserve the memory of the ship and its vanished crew, a narrative of suspense, horror, and fascination. Step onto the deck in imagination. Feel the spray of the Atlantic, cold and bracing. Hear the creak of timbers, the slap of water against the hull. Lanterns sway, shadows stretch, and every sound, the flapping of a sail, the groan of the rudder, the whisper of wind through rigging, becomes amplified, charged with meaning. The human story, abruptly ended, resonates across time, a family and crew erased, leaving only a vessel drifting between reality and legend. The motif echoes through history: ships abandoned, mysteriously, crews disappearing, cargo intact. Ghost ships, like Flying Dutchman Bechimo and Carol A. Deering, surface in memory, each a mirror of Mary Celeste. Patterns emerge: disappearances, panic, unseen danger. The sea as constant, impartial arbiter. Yet none provides certainty. Only reflection, speculation, imagination. Each telling renews the tension, the wonder, the fear. And so we return to the question posed at the outset. Could the crew have abandoned ship in fear, or did some unseen force intervene? Were the logs truthful, or did they hide hints of disaster? Did superstition, accident, or the subtle threat of the volatile cargo trigger a decision that would forever remain inexplicable? The Atlantic keeps its secrets close, indifferent to our curiosity. And Mary Celeste drifts on a vessel of mystery, a repository of unanswered questions. The lesson lingers, a fragile line between human order and nature's chaos, between the known and the unknowable, between routine and catastrophe. Mary Celeste embodies that tension, preserved in timbers, sails, barrels, and memories, a ghostly echo for generations. A reminder that history does not always conclude neatly, that some stories resist closure, and that curiosity, wonder, and fear are the true companions of mystery. You have witnessed a chapter of maritime history, a singular disappearance, a fate unknown. The ship, the crew, the family gone yet present in thought, imagination, and legend. The Atlantic stretches still, waves roll, and the question remains what truly happened aboard Mary Celeste. You have heard the account, seen the evidence, imagined the crew, pondered the shadows. Now pause, reflect, share your thoughts. Where would you have gone in their place? What would have compelled you to abandon ship or to remain aboard? Your reflection joins the thousands over centuries who have pondered the same. The story continues, not in answers but in wonder, speculation, and the haunting pull of the unknown. And so we leave her there, drifting between reality and myth, a vessel of questions, a testament to the ocean's indifference, a reminder that some mysteries are eternal. You have just encountered a tale history could not close. Subscribe, follow, and keep watching, for the sea holds more secrets and the stories have never ended. You've just witnessed a chapter of history that was never closed. Subscribe to uncover more secrets of the seas, and leave a comment if you were aboard. What would you have done?